Let's just talk a little bit about the wolf. Yeah, this is a name kind of given randomly to this moon, but at the same time, names are done for a reason. Everything's connected. The inspiration to name it the wolf moon was through spirit, and it was a message for all of us to interpret and understand. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. Today, we're going to take a look at the real sky for the coming full moon on January 3rd of 2026, the first full moon. It's called the Wolf Moon by the Farmer's Almanac. And when things are named, that energy is important. So we are going to take a look at the spiritual significance of the wolf and explore a few planets and how they relate to wolf energy. So I think you'll find that very interesting. Then we will review the energy of the coming full moon, all its aspects, what it means. And then we will go through it by your rising sign. And guys, the kind of astrology I do is astronomy. We look at the sky, we read the energies based on what we know about these archetypes. And so I humbly offer this to you as a way to simply look at the energy that's available to us from the standpoint of as above, so below. So whatever we're seeing in our sky is what's being reflected in our hearts and our minds and our bodies. So I'm glad you're here. I have some announcements, but we'll go through them as we go through the presentation. But let's just think about this lunation. If you guys are joining me now, before you've listened to the new moon energy for this cycle, I encourage you to go back and listen to that video and listen to your rising sign, and then come back and listen to this. Because if you're just now hooking into this lunar cycle, you may have missed something. It's always important to start the lunar cycle at the new moon with focused, mindful intentions, so that by the time this full moon comes, you got it. And this cycle didn't actually start the way most cycles do. It began with listening. I called it the channeler's moon, even though the almanac calls it the wolf moon. But this moon actually crossed the galactic center. And on the new moon, Mercury was square to the lunar nodes. So the sky opened up like this broadcasting kind of energy. The galactic center, you could consider it as an origin field, a place where information enters the system from beyond the realm we're used to. And the moon, I feel like, at least this new moon, asked us to receive what was already moving towards us. And channeling isn't about hearing voices or receiving messages or speaking in tongues. It's literally about tuning the nervous system so that truth can pass through you without distortion. It's about learning how to hold the signal without collapsing or overreacting. And from the very beginning, the sky made it clear that this would be embodied work. So the sun and moon reset at the Galactic Center on the 19th of December. Venus followed close behind through Ophiuchus. Now she's in Sagittarius. Mars entered Sagittarius just a few days ago, and the entire stellium was square to Saturn and Neptune that are conjunct in Pisces. So Saturn's asking for structure, and Neptune is dissolving illusion, and together they demand discernment. And this wasn't light energy. This was very, very clarifying energy. And at the same time, Chiron in Pisces, stationed direct right before this moon, this full moon, and it's support through sensitivity, right? The wound isn't a problem to solve this month. It's the entry point into wisdom connected through the body and through the emotions. So a lot of people felt very raw this month, a lot of things going on where you feel activated, overstimulated, and emotional. And that's the calibration that's being done because of where the moon and sun have been in the sky. So this full moon, it enters Gemini. It's conjunct Jupiter, retrograde. And this opposition of sun and moon, where the sun is conjunct Venus and Mars, this fuses together like desire and truth and action and expansion, and it's staring at each other from across the chart. And Jupiter often asks us for brutal honesty. And then, of course, there's Mercury moving through Ophiuchus, now is square to both Neptune and Saturn, which means that language matters. So what do you call this moon? Is it the wolf moon? Is it the channeler's moon? Are you channeling? Am I channeling? Language matters, thought matters, interpretation matters. And there's very little tolerance for distortion right now. So through this whole lunation, the sky has been asking us to speak simply, to speak honestly, and let silence do the work. And beneath all of this, the deeper architecture of the sky continues its long restructuring. We still have Pluto and Uranus in a trine, and they're both sextiling the Neptune-Saturn conjunction in Pisces. So you're probably going through it this month. Whatever the nervous system feels, it rejects what doesn't belong. And that's actually what sovereignty feels like. So while it's somewhat uncomfortable, the idea is not to suppress the response, but to integrate it without carrying it forward as a wound. And that, to me, is the wolf's wisdom. Wolves communicate clearly. They move when it's time to move. They rest when it's time to rest. They don't abandon the pack, and they do not abandon themselves. So the wolf moon is the culmination of the channeler's moon, because the wolf is the signal, the howl, the sound that the wolf makes. And it's asking us to live what we've been sensing all month, to speak from alignment and to listen without collapsing, to transmit without losing or leaking energy. So some of you are meant to receive messages right now through the body, through the dreams, through conversations. Some of you are meant to speak, to name something that's been waiting, to set a boundary, to claim truth. And some of you are meant to let something end quietly without explanation. So we're going to go through all of the rising sign energies, what you will experience during this full moon, because it will be different for everyone. So let's get into the presentation, friends. All right, friends, as always, we need to step outside and look up. This is how we orient ourselves to time, to space, to the current moment, to the current energy. And on this full moon, on January 3rd, the moon will be conjunct Jupiter and Pollux and Castor of the constellation of Gemini. That's right, this moon, for the calendar, for the tropical planetology system, it's in Cancer. But I would urge against reading this moon as a Cancer moon. I wouldn't do that until next month. The energy right now is calling us to expand our mind, expand our emotions, and to reflect that energy back to this very powerful combination of Sun, Venus, Mars, and Sagittarius. This is the crux of the energy right now. We've got the divine feminine and the sacred masculine, the yin and the yang, your creative passion and your desire and your will to complete something, all in the same space, all in the bow of the archer. Okay, so if we read this energy as it's presented to us by our cosmos, we tend to navigate the energy a little bit better. So we have Mercury trailing behind, and in a few days, Mercury will catch up with the Sun, Venus, and Mars. That's the next new moon right there. The moon will join the fray. But on the 6th of January, Sun and Venus make their superior conjunction. So that's a big moment. And then 2 days later, or 1 day later, Venus and Mars are together. And then the day after that, Sun and Mars are together. So on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of this month, right after our full moon, these three culminate their cycle and begin a new one. And then on the 21st, Mercury will start a new cycle, a new manifestation cycle. So let's see where everything else is. We look at Taurus, we see Uranus conjunct the Pleiades. So that's interesting. Uranus is retrograde right now. And then if we head on over to Pisces, we see Saturn conjunct Neptune in the sky. And this is the early part of Pisces, you guys. A lot of astrologers or tropical planetologists will tell you that Saturn and Neptune are about to enter Aries, and Aries is way over here. This is going to take a long time. Neptune will not be here in Aries until 2040. So I offer you this kind of astrology just to see if what's actually happening resonates with you more than what you're learning from what we've always been doing over the centuries. This is our sky. This is what we live under. Okay. So let's get into the presentation. We will look at the actual chart that goes with this sky, and then I'll take you through your rising sign. All right, friends, here's the presentation. I bet at some point in the last 2 weeks, you have felt a message, a lesson, either come into you for you to integrate or enter your awareness so that you can raise awareness to speak it. And that's what this moon's all about. It's the channeler's moon. We've all received something. And many of us will react by integrating it, changing what we do, breaking pattern, or transmitting what we've learned. That's my role here, is to transmit what I've learned through this lunation to you. So the message can no longer wait. We're discussing the January 3rd full moon in Gemini. It is the wolf moon by the Farmer's Almanac. Let's just talk a little bit about the wolf. Yeah, this is a name kind of given randomly to this moon, but at the same time, names are done for a reason. Everything's connected. The inspiration to name it the wolf moon was through spirit, and it was a message for all of us to interpret and understand. So the spiritual significance of the wolf. It represents intuition and instinct. Wolves are highly intuitive and rely on their keen instincts to survive. Spiritually, the wolf encourages trust in one's inner voice and the ability to navigate through life's challenges with confidence and awareness. There's also a connection to nature here, the wild and the natural world. So why wouldn't we as human creatures, as human animals, not want to connect with our moon where it really is? Wolves are seen as the guardians of the wilderness, representing the untamed and primal aspects of nature. They remind us to honor our connection to the earth and to our raw, authentic selves. And then, of course, there's mysticism associated with the moon. Whenever the full moon comes out, the wolf becomes alive. So the wolf's iconic howling at the moon ties it to lunar energy, symbolizing intuition, cycles, and the mystical. Wolves remind us to align with the natural rhythms and honor our emotional and spiritual depths. There's more. I always have more for you. Wolves can represent strength and leadership. As pack animals, wolves are natural leaders and team players. They embody the balance between standing alone and collaborating with others. And spiritually, they symbolize the importance of finding your role within a group while maintaining your individuality. This to me resonates with the location of the North and South node in the real sky. So for example, Aquarius is in the North node is in Aquarius. So this is the balance, while South node is in Leo, balancing the individual with the group. Wolves also represent loyalty and protection. Wolves are known for their loyalty to the pack and fierce protection of their territory. And spiritually, this highlights the importance of defending loved ones, building trust, and fostering deep bonds. They also represent freedom and responsibility. Wolves thrive in packs, but also value their independence. And spiritually, they represent the duality of freedom and responsibility, being true to oneself while caring for one's community. So I like to think about these things when we have the moon, because there's many things that are associated with lunar energy. The spiritual guide and teacher. Many indigenous traditions viewed the wolf as a spirit guide or totem, offering wisdom on life's path. And wolves teach lessons of adaptability, resilience, and how to harmonize with the cycles of life. They also represent transformation and shadow. In many traditions, the wolf serves as a guide through darkness, helping individuals confront their fears, embrace their shadows, and undergo personal transformation. And this mirrors the archetypal journey of death and rebirth that we've just been through with Ophiuchus season. So you see how the natural energies just flow into the next. You're not forcing something that is imposed upon you by the calendar. And finally, wolves represent communication and expression. Wolves are known for their complex communication skills, including howling, body language, and more. Spiritually, this reflects the need to express oneself clearly and authentically while being receptive to others. So this is not about performing anymore. It's not about getting clicks. It's not about getting subscribers. It's about like sitting authentically in your space and expressing yourself and doing what comes naturally to you. And if that means singing, if that means writing poetry, if that means doing art, if that means having a podcast, then that's what that means. I like to associate a few planets with the wolf. For example, Mars, the warrior and the hunter, right? Instinct, survival, courage, aggression, and the primal drive. You can think of Mars as the wolf. Wolves are hunters, embodying sharp instincts and action-driven behavior, very much like the Mars archetype. The wolf is the protector of the pack, and it resonates with Mars's association with loyalty, courage, and defense. Mars rules over primal instincts, survival mechanisms, and the drive for leadership, which aligns well with the wolf's independent and social nature. And we have Mars conjunct Sun right now. And we have Moon and the communicative stars of Gemini. I like Pluto too with wolf energy because there's mystery, there's power, there's death and rebirth, and the energy of the underworld. And wolves often symbolize the spiritual guide or a connection to the unseen world. And these are all themes strongly tied to Pluto. Shadow work, transformation, and facing fears parallel Pluto's energy with the wolf. And Pluto governs intense transformation, the balance between destruction and creation, much like the wolf's role as both predator and sacred symbol. And then finally, I really like Neptune for the wolf because there's a mysticism and an intuitive nature when we think about the wolf. Whenever a wolf shows up in our energy, we're like, whoa, that's a sign, you know? Neptune's associated with intuition, dreams, mysticism, and unity. Wolves are linked to intuition, emotional depth, and they're howling to the moon, invoking this mystical connection. This reflects Neptune's themes of spiritual longing and connection to the collective. So while Neptune governs the deep emotional sensitivity and the archetype of the guide or the teacher, this can also be connected to the wolf energy. So I thought you guys would find that interesting. Just some of the things I think about when I'm tying names together and energies together. So let's get into the astrology that's coming. I want to orient you to where we are in time and space at the moment. This is the full moon here on Saturday the 3rd. It's in Gemini. And there's a lot of energy building up to this full moon, which is why I always say you guys need to really focus where you are at the new moon. This was 2 Fridays ago. And we had the new moon with the perigee of 3i Atlas, closest approach to Earth. 2 days later, we have solstice. 3 days later, we have Venus crossing the galactic center and entering the stars of Sagittarius, while in a square to Neptune and Saturn. But so is Sun, so is Mars. All that energy is square to Neptune and Saturn as I'm recording this video. And then building up to the full moon, we've got the Sun Moon Golden Phoenix angle 3 days before. We have Venus in a Golden Phoenix angle to Uranus. Check out my video under the members only section about what this angle is and what it means. Mercury enters Gemini and crosses the galactic center 2 days before this full moon. And Chiron stations direct. So you see how there's quite a pop of energy right around the new year and right before this full moon expands into its fullness. And then, of course, as the moon wanes, we've got the transition of Venus from morning star to evening star, Venus conjunct Mars, and then Sun conjunct Mars. So this whole week really just interplays this conjunction, and the conjunction of Moon to Jupiter in Gemini expands all of this. And I feel like all of this is very good energy. It's just chaos. We have to be ready for some sort of chaos. Before I get into the chart, I just want to thank all of you beautiful souls that have supported this channel as channel members. All of those gold stars have been here greater than 6 months. So it shows you that those that come stay, because what we've got to offer is valuable. We are pioneering understanding our energy waves and how we deal with the world around us by using the actual sky again, returning to the real sky, which hasn't been done in over 2,000 years. And all of you beautiful souls are the brave pattern breakers that are here on this journey with me. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Real quick, I just want to announce and remind you guys that 1 week from this full moon is the Cycles of Light Masterclass. And the name's deceiving because you do not need to be a master of anything to take this class. If you are watching this video, then you understand the words that I'm saying, you understand the archetypes that I'm talking about, and I'm just going to open up your mind to a whole new understanding of the cosmos above you and how to look at these cycles as breaths, cosmic breaths, pulling in air and letting it out, and you move with it along with your code in a way that is resonant with your highest purpose and your highest timeline. So that's what I'm going to teach you in this class. It'll be live on Saturday the 10th from 10 a.m. Central Time to approximately 1 p.m. We already have 6 enrolled, so I'd love to see you there. I'm getting the PowerPoints and the presentations and the documents all ready to go for you guys. And I'm really looking forward to giving you this energy. All right, here we are. We are on January 3rd of 2026, the first full moon of the year. And you can see this amazing tight conjunction of Sun, Venus, and Mars in the stars of Sagittarius. And I prove this to you by showing you the sky. And then on the full moon, I encourage you to go outside and look as it's rising. Look for Castor and Pollux. You'll see the moon and Jupiter are right there. They're nowhere near Cancer. So we read, and I offer this energy to you as a Gemini full moon on the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius. So let's get into some of these aspects because there's a lot here. So first we have Sun and Sag. So this is your typical Sagittarius energy. You guys, these archetypes types that we think about have been developed way before tropical astrology. Sagittarius was Sagittarius before spring was always in Aries. This was an energy that the ancients thought about. And it's very close to the galactic center. It's like a rebirth energy. It's the next horizon. It's higher learning. It's faith. It's spirituality and belief. And so our outward expression of our physical self is marinating in this energy. We want to try new things. We want to see new horizons. We want to learn about the truth. We want to know where we fit in the grand scheme of things. And Mars, the planet of action, who is devoted to the creator. Who's the creator? That's you. That's your Venus energy. When you have a full body yes or a full body no, the Venus energy is talking to you. And when that energy is inspired, you can feel it and you want to create and you want to express yourself. And Mars is right there by your side, wanting to help you take this action. Opposing it on the other side of the sky is that full moon in Gemini connected to Castor and Pollux, the twins. This is an energy of duality. It's also the energy of programming what we believe. This reminds me of a younger phase in our lives when we're in school and the teachers tell us things and we believe them because they're our teachers and we should trust them. And the things that they tell us land very deeply in our psyche and our subconscious. The lessons and the truths that we believe at this young age take sometimes an entire lifetime to undo. And so the moon's highlighting our space of belief, our space of truth, our space of knowledge, and Jupiter is expanding it, wanting you to see what could be possible, wanting you to look beyond the horizons of your limited mindset and see what could be possible. So I feel really, really good about this full moon, especially everything that's leading up to it. In addition, the lunar nodes, which you should always look at during any lunation, because this is where the sun's ecliptic and the moon's ecliptic cross each other, and they move clockwise along the zodiac. So the south node's moving through Leo right now, and the north node's moving through Aquarius. The south node in Leo is about remembering the divine child, our sacred innocence, our connection to source, the purity of being part of the one. And it sounds weird because Leo's selfish, right? But it is the divine child. It's loving creation, loving yourself, loving everything around you. It's such a heart-centered, beautiful energy. So this through Christmas feels like nostalgia. Like, yeah, I miss my family. I miss my childhood. I feel into all of that. My life's so different now. You know what I did? I called all my family members and I just reconnected with them just to satisfy that energy. Because where we're going is what's driving us. And that's towards Aquarius, which is the new age. It's technology and spirituality. It's reclaiming our psychic gifts and our powerful abilities for the good of humanity, for the good of each other. And this nodal axis is in a very nice aspect by both the sun and the moon and Jupiter. So we have moon, Venus and Mars sextiling to South Node. Yes, take care of those personal relationships, those personal connections. They might inspire you, but also tap into the collective frequencies, the future frequencies. What's next? So Sun, Venus, and Mars are taking the opportunity to connect with their past, to move towards the future, while the moon and Jupiter are expanding your mind towards what's possible and allowing you to use your connection, your innocent, spiritual, divine connection to source as your motivation. So I love this moon. I think this moon's amazing. There are some tougher energies, but not really. Only really Jupiter has the tough energy right now, and that's a square to Chiron. In fact, Chiron is squaring both the sun and the moon and Jupiter. And this is where it's, I'm having my Chiron return, and so I may be coming to a revelation that a lot of you may have already figured out. But for me, it's fresh. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of wounding in the past. There's some subconscious garbage that goes on in our psyches that make us react and do things that we, maybe shouldn't do or normally wouldn't do. It's because we're wounded, right? It's because, at least with Pisces, it's disconnection from spirit. It's seeing all the pain and suffering in the world and saying, oh my God, how could there be a God? How could there be something holy in this place? But it's the precise location of Chiron right now that uses that energy of showing us the pain and suffering so that when we can connect with the divine, and we do, we see the difference, we see that contrast. And we have to come to a space while Chiron's moving through Pisces where even the ugly is beautiful. Even the broken is perfect. Even the wounded are divine. And that means a Christ-like level of compassion, which not all of us are equipped to do. And it's a struggle. Love your enemy. Turn the other freaking cheek. It's Chiron at 33 degrees of Pisces. You're not going to get this message in tropical because Chiron's in Aries. And they don't even go up to 33 degrees in tropical because they don't match the real sky. So here you have like literally the martyr energy of Christ, like letting go of all those things that you believe in that affect how you react, Mars, saying, integrate it. Don't worry about it. Like it's perfect the way it is. And that's a hard lesson for a lot of us. So I think that's the rubric we've got to cross here as this moon comes to a head. Let's see what else is going on. So we have Mercury, which is the channeler's moon. Mercury just crossed the galactic center. It's in a square to Saturn and Neptune. So we have Saturn, responsibilities, integrity, the end, the physical matter connected to the planet of spirituality and cosmic shamanism and dreams and possibilities. And that's a very unique combination. Again, that only happens every 36 years. And that is in a square to Mercury. So Mercury is like ready for truth, ready to preach it, ready to tell it like it is. And some of the illusions, some of the dogmas that we hold on to, we can't anymore with this square. There's truth that's coming out. We're going to have to change some of that. But it's in a very compassionate and spiritual place. So I think just a little inner work usually helps with that. It's pointing right to Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith is shadow work and the inner work. And she's opposing Uranus. Uranus is that unique spark of individuality, that divine, unique glow of the divine. It's a lonely path because nobody's like you. You can't look left or right and say, am I doing this right? When you're really in your Uranus. But Uranus is only fully expressed when you've mastered your Saturn, because when you become the expert, then you can break it. Not for the sake of rebellion, not just because you want to break a system, but because you've mastered that thing and now you know how to make it even better and to bring your own divine and individual light into that. And the opposition with Black Moon Lilith, this is literally like, don't be shy, come on out. Show your true self. It doesn't matter. There's no judgment here. Okay. So, a lot of energy. This is long-standing energy. Okay. This Saturn, Neptune, this Uranus configuration with Pluto, this has been with us for a while. Okay. This moon's quick, but it's just commenting on what we've already been. It's time to look at our beliefs and to change them and to mold them into a future focused mindset. And you couldn't have asked for a better aspected Pluto in terms of what's going on here. You've got two sextiles, one to your shadow and the other one to what's possible. And then you've got a trine to your unique spark of divinity. So it's really just about it. The whole square is being honest and integrating that wound of belief and becoming the full divine expression that you're meant to be. So yeah, nothing too dramatic this month, really just coming into yourself. And then that's what all of these cycle resets are about. And so depending on your rising sign, my friends, you might feel this energy differently. This whole chart right here is for Sagittarius Rising. So the houses are correct for those of you with Sagittarius Rising. And we'll get into that shortly. I want to just show you guys real quick how to locate your rising sign and also how to connect with me. So free support for our channel is you can like it, you can hype it, you can subscribe if you're lurking and you like this content and it resonates with you. You can also share this video if there's somebody that needs this information. On Facebook, we're in the Fellowship of 13 Signs. Come on over, ask to join. It's a vibrant community. If you want to level up and join the channel and support us, you can go ahead and do that. You can cancel anytime. You can also gift memberships. The benefits of joining our channel is that you get content like this first and also exclusive content. We meet once a month around the new moon to kind of go over, your chart, my chart, the chart of the sky, talk about things that are on our mind and see what's going on. You can get a reading with me. I'm honored to do that. This is a really good time for me to do readings because of the positions and how they're aspecting my chart. I have a full course website with every course you could imagine about how to look at the sky, the natural sky, and of course, the book, The 13th Sign, Ophiuchus and the Astrology They Don't Want You to See. All the links are below. If you want to connect with me, that's the best way to do it. So let's talk about how to find your rising sign. For this exercise, the birth time is essential. Now, guys, if you don't know your birth time, but there is a planet that you love and adore, then you can adopt that planet's sign as your rising sign if you wish. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, like, for example, if you love Venus, then you can say Taurus is your rising sign. If you love Jupiter, you can say that Sagittarius is your rising sign. It just depends. But if you know your birth time, that will actually give you what was on the eastern horizon the day and the time you were born. If you go to stellarium-web.org, which is what we open this presentation with, you change the time and date to your birthday and time, and then just look on the eastern horizon. You can also take advantage of the free chart calculator on my website that's powered by Mastering the Zodiac. You just put in your details, you look to the left side of the chart or the 9 o'clock position, and you'll see the symbol AS or ASC. Whatever constellation is crossing the 12th to first house tick mark, that is your ascendant sign. And so whatever planet rules that constellation, that is your chart ruler. Now, for those of you that have been taught in tropical astrology or have followed that, the rising sign in true sky or real sky astrology may be different than your tropical placement. So make sure you hit that calculator so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm still talking about whatever tropical sign you think you are. I'm just moving it a little bit to the actual sky. There will be timestamps below so that you can just click right now, right to your ascendant. So let's get started. All right, Sagittarius Rising. This is your full moon reading. Jupiter rules your chart. So this is a big deal because your chart ruler is opposing Sun, Venus, and Mercury right now. You're feeling this as a 1st and 7th house axis. This is projection and reflection. This brings your identity and relationship into sharp focus. The Sun, Venus, and Mars fused in your 1st house amplify presence, desire, and self-assertion. And since that Galactic Center new moon, that reset from who you are from the inside out, this full moon is now revealing how that new self is being mirrored through others. And it's expansive. It's huge. That moon conjunct Jupiter in your 7th house brings conversations, negotiations, and relational truths to a peak. So you're not about winning or persuading right now. It's about recognizing which relationships still reflect who you're becoming and which are built on outdated agreements. The lunar nodes are in your 2nd and 8th house axis. Old patterns of overgiving, emotional entanglement, or shared power dynamics are absolutely ready to be released. The evolutionary pull is towards self-worth, sovereignty, and cleaner energetic boundaries. This Chiron square here to the sun and the moon, this makes it tender. It's in your 4th house. It's about family, emotional safety, and your sense of belonging. You might feel exposed here, but it's not to make you feel weak. What you need to do, Sagittarius Rising, is to ground yourself before engaging outwardly during this week. Mercury is moving through your 12th house, squaring Saturn and Neptune in your 3rd, meaning that the message is still forming internally for you. Not everything needs to be said yet. Listen carefully. Let the truth organize itself before you speak. Silence can actually be part of the transmission now. So the wolf moon is calling you to own your own truth without forcing its delivery. Receive first, speak second, and then your relationships will adjust accordingly. All right, Scorpio and Ophiuchus rising. You guys, your chart rulers are up for debate. Mars is probably the most basic traditional ruler for this whole space in the sky, both Scorpio and Ophiuchus. However, Pluto can rule a chart for Scorpio. Chiron can rule Ophiuchus. The Galactic Center can be ruled by Jupiter's. But you got a lot of heavy hitters there in any case. And you guys are malleable. You change who you are all the time. So this moon is activating your 2nd house and your 8th house. This brings a powerful reckoning around value, resources, and energetic exchange. Sun, Venus, Mars. Ignite the questions of self-worth, money, embodiment, and what you are willing to stand behind. Since this Galactic Center new moon, your relationship to value has been resettling from the inside and out. The full moon shows you where that shift must now be honored externally. The moon illuminates shared resources, emotional entanglements, debts, obligations, and power dynamics. Something hidden comes into awareness. You may realize where you've been overextending, oversharing, or carrying responsibility that does not belong to you. Jupiter retrograde asks you to revise old agreements rather than expand on them. These lunar nodes activate your 4th and your 10th house. Performance, self-acceptance, acceptance of others. All of these philosophies are ready to loosen. And growth is going to come from attention to the inner self, the environment in your immediate surroundings, and staying present with what is actually unfolding rather than how you feel you're supposed to be. Chiron is in your 5th house, squaring the full moon. This brings tenderness around creative expression, joy, romance, or being seen. There may be vulnerability around sharing your heart or trusting pleasure again. This whole lunation for you, Scorpio and Ophiuchus Rising, is an invitation to heal through honesty rather than control. Mercury moving through your 1st house, square Saturn and Neptune in your 4th house. This means your voice carries weight, but emotional clarity also matters. So speak from the body, not from overwhelm. What you say now shapes how safe you feel afterwards. This wolf moon is calling you to claim your value without negotiating it away. So invest in what sustains you and release what drains you. Scorpio and Ophiuchus Rising. All right, beautiful, symmetrical Libra rising. This can also apply to the later Virgo rising. Virgo is a big constellation. I give you guys Mercury as your chart ruler, although traditionally it's been Venus. I think Venus is the earlier part of this constellation. Well, Mercury is the later part. And I have many videos arguing that. So for this chart, I give you guys Mercury. Mercury is right at the Galactic Center in your 2nd house. So this full moon is activating your 3rd and 9th house. This brings voice, perception, learning, and lived truth into focus. The Sun, Venus, Mars fused in Sagittarius in your 3rd house intensifies communication, expression, and the way that you name your reality. Words carry power now. Conversations matter. Since the Galactic Center new moon, how you speak about yourself, your needs, and your values have been reorganizing under the surface. And the full moon asks you whether your voice reflects your truth or accommodates others. Opposite this, the moon conjunct Jupiter in Gemini in your 9th house illuminates your belief systems, your ethics, could be teaching, publishing, the stories you live by. This is an internal recalibration rather than an outward expansion. You might be questioning long-held philosophies, spiritual frameworks, or guidance you once trusted. Wisdom now comes from dialogue and from lived experience rather than doctrine for you, Libra rising. The nodes here in your 5th and 11th house are activating your creativity and community access. The North Node in Leo in your 5th house and the South Node in Aquarius in your 11th house brings up old patterns of prioritizing group consensus, collective ideals, or intellectual detachment. And they're ready to be released. So growth will come through joy, artistry, romance, play, and personal creative risk. You're being asked to lead with heart rather than theory, and with pleasure rather than obligation. And as Mercury moves through your 2nd house here, this brings attention to self-worth, money, resources, and what you value enough to sustain. Your thoughts and words shape your sense of stability right now. So speak in ways that reinforce your worth. Make choices that reflect what you truly stand behind. This wolf moon is calling you to rebalance the exchange between what you say and what you live. So let your voice reflect your value and let your joy guide direction forward. Hello, beautiful Virgo rising. Venus rules your chart in my book. because of the immense creative and embodied power that's present in the archetype and the stars of Virgo. And this full moon's activating your 4th and 10th house. So you have Sun, Venus, and Mars right there in your fourth house, while Jupiter and Moon are in your 10th house. So the Sun and Mars and Mercury bring home, family, and inner security into direct conversation with career, visibility, and long-term direction. This illuminates your emotional foundation, private life, and sense of belonging. And since that Galactic Center new moon, something deep within your inner world has been reorganizing. This full moon asks whether your outer life truly reflects what you need to feel safe and supported. And opposite this, Moon and Jupiter in your 10th house brings public roles, reputation, leadership, and future goals to a point of clarity. Jupiter suggests revision rather than expansion. You may realize that a role you occupy looks successful from the outside, but no longer feels aligned internally. Recognition without resonance is no longer enough. You can't do this anymore, Virgo Rising. The nodes are activating your 6th and 10th house, your karma and enlightenment axis, with the South node in Leo and the North node in Aquarius. Old patterns of self-sacrifice, over-functioning, or carrying invisible responsibilities are ready to be released here. Growth comes through sustainable routines, clear boundaries, and allowing your daily life to support your nervous system. Chiron's over here in your 7th house in Pisces, squaring the full moon, both the sun and the moon, bringing tenderness into your relationships. Wounds around being understood, supported, or emotionally met may surface. Healing comes through honesty and softness rather than trying to fix something or to withdraw. And then Mercury in your 3rd house, square to Saturn, and Neptune in your 6th, means the message is practical. It's embodied this month. How you speak, how you plan, and commit directly affects your health and energy. Say only what you can realistically sustain. This wolf moon is calling you to let your public life grow out of your private truth, meaning that you honor what you need to feel at home within yourself, and you let alignment replace obligation, Virgo Rising. Beautiful, lovely Leo Rising. This is your full moon forecast. The full moon's going to be activating your 5th and 11th house from Sagittarius and Gemini, bringing personal creativity, pleasure, and self-expression into dialogue with your community, audience, and collective purpose. Sun, Venus, and Mars fused here in Sagittarius reignite desire, passion, romance, artistry, and the impulse to create from the heart. And since that Galactic Center moon just 2 weeks ago, your relationship to joy has been reorganizing. This full moon asks whether you're creating for approval or for your truth. Opposite this in Gemini, it's moon conjunct Jupiter, illuminating friendships, networks, social roles, and the future you are contributing to. Jupiter retrograde suggests a recalibration rather than expansion. You may realize that certain groups, collaborators, or visions no longer match who you're becoming. Belonging must now feel reciprocal, not performative. These nodes in your 1st house and your 7th house, it activates the identity and the relationship axis. Old habits of leading through force of personality or carrying the emotional weight of others are ready to release. Growth comes through partnership, shared vision, and allowing others to meet you as an equal. Oh, the Chiron's in your 8th house right now, squaring the full moon, squaring the sun, Venus, and Mars. It brings a sensitivity around trust, vulnerability, and energetic entanglements. Healing comes from allowing yourself to be supported without losing yourself. Intimacy deepens when control softens, Leo Rising. And Mercury moving through your 4th house, squaring Saturn and Neptune in your 7th, makes communication around home, family, and emotional needs essential. Speak clearly about what you need from others. Avoid assumptions, because clarity here creates the safety you need. This wolf moon is calling you to create from authenticity rather than expectation. So let joy be real, not staged. and let connection meet you where you truly are. Leo Rising. Beautiful, sweet Cancer Rising. The moon rules your chart. Any lunar forecasts we do are important for you because you resonate with moon energy. This full moon is activating your 6th and your 12th house axis, bringing the energy of daily life, health, service into the conversation, along with rest and slumber and the unconscious. Sun, Venus, and Mars fused here in Sagittarius energize your work patterns, your routines, and how you apply effort in your day-to-day. Since that Galactic Center new moon on the 19th, your relationship to responsibility and usefulness has been reorganizing. This full moon asks whether your daily life actually supports your natal vitality. Moon and Jupiter here conjunct in Gemini in your 12th house illuminates hidden emotional patterns, mental loops, and the need for withdrawal. Jupiter retrograde suggests inner revision rather than outward expansion. You may realize that exhaustion has been quietly accumulating. Insight arrives through rest, dreams, and stepping back rather than pushing forward. And then you have the lunar nodes in your 2nd and 12th, 2nd and 8th house. You have the south node in your 2nd, the north node in your 8th. Old attachments to self-worth on output or control are ready to be released. Growth comes through shared support, trust, and allowing resources to flow rather than be managed. Chiron's in your 9th house, and this is squaring the sun and the moon, bringing tenderness around belief, meaning, or direction. You might have questions about faith, purpose, or the future might feel just a little bit raw and exposed. Healing in this energy comes through curiosity and allowing your worldview to soften rather than needing some kind of certainty. Meanwhile, Mercury's in your 5th house, squaring the sun and Neptune in your 8th, which means creative expression and emotional honesty feel extremely vulnerable right now. So speak carefully about what matters to you. Avoid dramatizing pain. Simple truths this month carry so much further than emotional overflow. This wolf moon is calling you to care for your nervous system as seriously as your obligations. Honor rest as part of your service and let support in, let it reach you. Cancer Rising. Busy Gemini Rising. This is your full moon forecast for you. Mercury rules your chart. Mercury is in your 6th house. We'll talk about that shortly because you have moon and sun in your 1st and 7th house. This brings identity, embodiment, and self-expression into direct dialogue with partnership, mirrors, and relational dynamics. Moon conjunct Jupiter in your 1st amplifies your visibility, your emotion, your self-awareness. Since that Galactic Center new moon on the 19th of December, your sense of self has been expanding inwardly. This full moon asks you to recognize who you are now, not who you are expected to be. Opposite this moon is the sun and Venus and Mars fused in your 7th house, illuminating relationships, contracts, and significant others. Something about how you meet others is coming into focus for you. Jupiter suggests that this is not about proving or convincing, but about honest alignment. Relationships right now reflect your growth very clearly. What feels supportive stays, and what feels forced reveals itself and disappears. You have the lunar nodes in your 3rd and 9th house, activating your learning and communication skills. So old patterns of needing to be heard, needing to be validated, or performing through words, they're ready to go. They're ready to release. Growth comes through higher perspective, broader understanding, and speaking from wisdom rather than reaction. Then you have Chiron squaring both the moon and the sun in your 10th house in Pisces. This makes public roles, leadership, or visibility feel very tender. Wounds around being seen or trusted may surface. Healing comes through compassion for your own learning and allowing your authority to mature naturally. There's no one's checking you, no one's grading you right now. Let that process happen naturally. Mercury is in your 6th house, squaring Saturn and Neptune in your 9th as well. This means daily choices, schedules, and mental habits affect your belief system and sense of direction. So stay practical, Gemini Rising. Ground big ideas in small and repeatable actions. This wolf moon is calling you to stand fully in who you are becoming and let relationships adjust accordingly. Speak from embodiment, not defense. Let truth reorganize your connections without forcing it. Gemini Rising. Beautiful, sensual Taurus Rising. This is my rising sign too. This is activating our 2nd and 8th house axis. This brings self-worth, values, and resources into direct dialogue with energy, intimacy, and obligation. The moon and Jupiter are magnifying questions around value, income, and embodiment and what you rely on for stability. That resonates for me for sure. And since the new moon at the Galactic Center right here on the 19th of December, the sense of self-worth has been quietly recalibrating. Again, yes, I resonate with this. The full moon is asking us whether our material and emotional investments truly reflect our values. And opposite this, we have Sun, Venus, Mars, all fused in the 8th house in Sag, illuminating finances, energetic entanglements, and emotional exchanges. Jupiter over here suggests this isn't about taking on more, but about revising what's already going on. Something about what you give, share, or carry for others reaches a point of clarity, and reciprocity actually matters. The lunar nodes are in our 4th and 10th houses. This is activating emotional patterns rooted in family history or private conditioning. All of that's ready to loosen, and growth comes through stepping into a more authentic public role and allowing your voice to be heard beyond the familiar spaces. So Taurus Rising, we're coming out. We have to deal with Chiron, though. It's in our 11th house, and it's in Pisces, and it's squaring our moon and our sun here. And if you're my age, then you're going through a Chiron return. Bringing this is sensitivity around how do we belong? What is our community like? What's the long-term vision here for us? Wounds connected to being supported by groups may surface, and healing comes through aligning with communities that honor your frequency rather than drain it. Mercury moving through your 7th house, 8th house energy here, squaring onto Saturn and Neptune in your 10th, means conversations around commitment, work, and direction require clarity. Avoid vague promises. Speak plainly about expectations and limits. The wolf moon is calling us to claim our worth without overgiving, to honor our value, and to let shared energy become a conscious choice rather than an obligation. Beautiful Taurus rising. All right, beautiful Aries rising. This full moon is in your 3rd house, and the sun, Venus, and Mars are in your 9th house. This axis brings communication, perception, and information into dialogue with belief, meaning, and long-range vision. The moon conjunct Jupiter in your 3rd house amplifies conversations, thoughts, learning, and messages coming from multiple directions. Ooh, your mind is busy now. But this isn't noise without purpose, right? Since that galactic center moon on the 19th of December, your mental landscape has been reorganizing. This full moon asks whether your stories you repeat still reflect what you actually know to be true. Opposite this, Sun, Venus, Mars, fused in Sagittarius in your 9th, illuminate philosophy, faith, teaching, and the direction you're aiming towards. This is a reignition of purpose. Jupiter retrograde indicates refinement rather than expansion. You're really not meant to adapt a new belief system here, but to embody the one that's been quietly forming within you. What you stand for now must be lived, not just articulated. Aries rising. Look, the nodes in your 5th and 11th house, they activate the creativity and the community axis. Old patterns of seeking validation through personal performance, romance, or recognition are ready to loosen. You have to let that go. It doesn't look good on you anymore. Growth comes through contribution, collaboration, and aligning with a future that is larger than personal expression alone. You are learning how to offer your light without centering yourself as the source. Chiron squares the sun and the moon and is in your 12th house. This brings subconscious grief, fatigue, unresolved emotional residue into awareness. This is really tender terrain for you. And it really doesn't explain it. You don't need to explain it right now. You don't have to have an action right now. It just requires compassion and rest and allowing what has been hidden to soften rather than trying to solve it. Mercury in your 8th house, squaring Saturn and Neptune in your 11th. Bring conversations around trust, shared resources, power dynamics, and group commitments into focus. Speak honestly about boundaries. Don't assume alignment where it has not been explicitly named. Clarity protects both intimacy and collaboration here. This wolf moon is calling you to speak with integrity and to listen beneath the surface of words. So, Aries rising, let truth be something you inhabit, not defend, and allow belief to evolve through lived experience. Sweet, soft, compassionate, mystical Pisces rising. This full moon's being activated in your 4th house, while Sun, Venus, and Mars are in your 10th house. So this all brings home for you inner stability and emotional grounding into direct dialogue with career, visibility, and public responsibility. The moon, conjunct Jupiter in your 4th house, expands awareness around family patterns, living situations, and the emotional environment you're rooted in. Since we had that new moon on December 19th at the Galactic Center, your inner world has been speaking very loudly. The full moon is asking you, what kind of foundation are you actually building your life on? Sun, moon, or the sun, Venus, and Mars spotlight purpose, leadership, and the role you're being asked to step into. Jupiter retrograde suggests revision rather than a forward push. You might realize that an outer goal needs to be adjusted so that it doesn't come at the cost of emotional safety. Public life must now be built on something real. Meanwhile, you have the nodes in the 6th and the 12th house, which is karma and enlightenment. Old patterns over giving, fixing, or tying worth to productivity are ready to release. It doesn't look good on you anymore. Growth comes through rest, spiritual alignment, and honoring the unseen dimensions of your life. Chiron is in your 1st house, squaring both the sun and the moon, making identity itself the healing ground. Your sensitivity isn't weakness here. Old wounds around being seen or believed or taken seriously will surface here, but healing comes from that compassion of the self and allowing yourself to be exactly as you are in this phase. And Neptune and Saturn are literally in your ascendant energy, shaping the entire experience of this lunation. Saturn asking for embodiment and boundaries, while Neptune opens the channel. You are learning how to hold a frequency without dissolving yourself. This is really advanced work, Pisces rising. But with Neptune as your chart ruler or Jupiter, you're very much equipped to do this. You have all the tools you need. Mercury's in your 10th house, squaring Saturn and Neptune in your 1st, which means how you speak publicly and how you interpret authority directly affect your body and your nervous system. So choose clarity, choose simplicity, don't over-explain. This wolf moon is calling you to ground the channel into form. You need to anchor your sensitivity and let structure protect the signal, Pisces rising. Aquarius rising. This full moon is in your 5th house, while the sun, Venus, and Mars hang out in your 11th house. This lunation is bringing personal creativity, joy, and authentic self-expression into dialogue with your community, networks, and collective purpose. Moon conjunct Jupiter in your 5th house magnifies creative urges, emotional expression, romance, and the desire to be seen for who you truly are. Since we've had that new moon on December 19th at the Galactic Center, your creative frequency's been recalibrating. The full moon asks, what are you expressing that feels alive and meaningful? Or is it simply performative? Sun, Venus, Mars fused in Sagittarius in the 11th illuminates friendships, alliances, and the future you're building with others. Jupiter retrograde suggests a reassessment of which communities truly support your growth. Some group dynamics may no longer fit. Contribution must now feel reciprocal and aligned rather than obligatory. The lunar nodes are in your 1st and 7th house. Identity and relationships, old habits, defining yourself through others, approval or partnership, they're ready to release. You're not somebody's thing. You're not somebody's wife. You're not somebody's partner. You're not somebody's mom anymore. You're you. Growth comes through self-definition, embodiment, and standing firmly in your own frequency without explanation. Chiron in your 2nd house, square the sun and the moon, brings sensitivity around self-worth, stability, and value. Wounds connected to deserving, security, or being resourced may surface. The healing, the real magic here comes through honoring your intrinsic value rather than seeking validation externally. And then Mercury moving through your 10th house, squaring Saturn and Neptune in your 1st. This means that conversations around ideas, the future, inspiration require clarity in terms of what you're trying to achieve and who you actually are. So speak honestly about this and ground your vision in what is actually sustainable. The wolf moon is calling you to create from self-trust and let your community respond naturally. So Aquarius rising, lead with authenticity. Let resonance determine connection. Capricorn rising, Saturn rules your chart, and this full moon is in your 6th house, while the sun, Venus, and Mars are in your 12th house. This axis is karma and enlightenment. It brings your daily responsibilities, your work, your service, and health into dialogues with rest, surrender, and unseen realms. The moon conjunct Jupiter here magnifies that workload, the schedules, the mental habits, how your nervous system handles stress. Ever since that Galactic Center new moon, your relationship to effort and obligation has been reorganizing. This moon's asking whether your daily life supports your vitality or quietly depletes it. Sun, Venus, and Mars fused in Sagittarius in your 12th house illuminate subconscious patterns, hidden motivations, spiritual processing, and the need for retreat. Jupiter suggests this is not time to push harder, but to listen inwardly. Something is completing behind the scenes for you. And what looks like rest is actually integration. Look, you've got the nodes in your 2nd and 8th house. North node in the 2nd, south node in the 8th. Old entanglements around shared power, emotional depths, or carrying others' burdens are ready to go. It doesn't look good on you anymore, Capricorn rising. Growth is coming through strengthening self-reliance, stabilizing resources, and reclaiming your energy. You're going to have Chiron in your 3rd house, squaring both the sun and the moon, bringing tenderness around communication, learning, or even just being understood. Words might feel heavy or vulnerable. Healing comes through gentler self-talk and allowing space for reflection rather than immediate answers. So Capricorn rising, you have Mercury in your 11th house, squaring Saturn and Neptune in your 2nd house. This means that how you communicate your ideals, your inspirations, your visions to the greater public at large affects how you value what it is you're saying and how you take responsibility for the meaning behind it. This wolf moon is calling you to honor rest as a part of mastery. You need to release what drains you quietly and let clarity rise from stillness. Capricorn rising. All right, beautiful souls, that concludes this transmission for the full moon in Gemini. If you're still here, you're either at Capricorn rising or you're one of my beautiful students just continuing to learn this practice. So if you enjoyed the content, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're lurking, join the Fellowship of 13 Signs on Facebook, and I will see you guys for the next transmission. Namaste.